Shantala Boss, a familiar face. She is a mental health counselor. Thanks for stopping by again this afternoon for another in-depth segment.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about how common mental health disorders are in children.
Well, actually, diagnosed mental health conditions are about 16.5% of the nation's population, but there are several children who are undiagnosed.
So undiagnosed, I mean, that could be dangerous.
Well, the concern, is really for early detection and intervention, because when children are very young, 2 to 7 is actually the pre-operational phase of development,
2 to 7.
Piaget.
Okay.
Yes, and that's when kids are really learning about their world through symbolic play, through interactions with their environment. So their brain is becoming wired to understand how to deal with stressors and situations that as an adult we aren't as in tune with those things because we never go back to the early stages of development when we're doing that kind of processing. It becomes more cognitive. So 2 to 7 is extremely pivotal for learning how to deal with stress, anxiety, building relationships, all these things. But a lot of times parents or caregivers will push it aside and say, well, it's just a terrible two. So when do you know, right? When do you know?
So what is the difference? Because you said early detection. The terrible twos, that's just, then there are the signs and symptoms of a true mental health disorder.
Well, the two things are intensity and duration that we want to talk about. So how high of an intensity is it? Is it impeding a child's daily function? Is it messing up routines? Is it obstructing property? Is a child getting kicked out of daycare? Are there relationships that are falling apart because of it? So that's the intensity of the behavior, and then how long is it going on? Is it a day, a week, a month? Is it on and off? So we need to look at those two things specifically.
So, if I believe that, my child's behavior is a little abnormal, when should I go get treatment or help?
Well, it's always good to check in with your child, depending on how verbal they are, and just ask them how they're doing, what's been on their mind, what's bothering them, where are their stressors, and kind of watching for those signs. So it's hard to know exactly when, but if you're able to watch for the signs and ask your child if they're open to maybe talking with someone. A lot of kids, very young, see someone as a counselor just to kind of have an outside person to talk with that's neutral. Some parents come, they're divorced and they have split homes. And a lot of times kids have a lot of anxiety because they feel they have to be loyal to both parents, but they can't tell dad what's going on at mom's or mom what's going on at dad's because they don't want to upset the other, even if it's a positive thing. So having that neutral environment and building a relationship early on with that kind of a professional is always healthy and helpful.
I've got about a minute left. Let's play therapy.
Yes, that's one of my passions. I'm a registered play therapist.
What is it?
And so play therapists are licensed mental health counselors that go back to school, post-masters, and get more classes and supervision in this degree. And what it is really is play is actually child's language, especially pre-operational stage 2 to 7. Play is their language, and toys are their way of showing us how they can speak that language. It's like their words. So when kids are not able to cognitively express to us, and they are more in that pre-operational stage, play is showing us. So what play therapists do is they're trained to understand themes, whether it be aggressive, nurturing, whatever the themes are in play, and kind of walk through that play with the child. We're not leading, we're not telling the child, if they say this is a dinosaur and it's actually a duck, we don't repeat and say, oh no, that's not right. This isn't a time to learn their animals, it's a time for them to be in their exploratory play.
Very quickly though, does it help?
It does help.
Noticed,
There's been a lot of success for kids, especially with anxiety, especially with the relationship and the rapport and feeling heard. They're expressing their world through play. Some kids more than others, some need more structured play.
Very interesting, and we're going to put this segment on our website, mynews13.com. So if you missed any of this here, you'll be able to see it on the website. So thank you, Shantala Boss, for coming in. Always good to see you.
You too.
Come back. We know we'll have you back.
Thank you.